Okay, let's kick this off. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our webinar today, 5 Ways to Build a Resilient Contracting Business by Integrating IAQ. And for those that don't know what IAQ is, it is Indoor Air Quality. My name is Kane Ruxtol, and I am your host and moderator. Today's webinar is presented by Ferguson Enterprises and ThinkProfits. Ferguson Enterprises was founded in 1953 and is the largest U.S. distributor of plumbing supplies, PVF, waterworks, fire, and fabrication products. Ferguson is also a major distributor of HVAC equipment and industrial products and services with global annual sales exceeding $21 billion. ThinkProfits is a digital marketing agency founded in 1996 and based in Vancouver, Canada. ThinkProfits has helped over 3,000 clients, including HVAC and plumbing contractors, generate more than 1 million leads and over 1 billion in sales revenues. Before we get started with the presenter introductions, I have a few housekeeping items I'd like to go over first. So if you have any questions, please type in your questions in the chat box, which is located on the right side of your screen, and we'll answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Second, this webinar is going to be a little bit different from other webinars you've probably attended, where we will not be showing any slides. Instead, we want to have a conversation, and so you can see our faces in full glory, covering the 5 main points of the webinar. What we have done for your convenience is included the webinar slides in the offer section, so you should see that near your chat box as well. For those that are watching on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn, and you would like to have the slides, just let us know and we'll send you an email with that. And last, we will send you a recording within 1 business day after this webinar. Now, without further ado, I'd like to present our presenters. Unfortunately, Bill Thomason cannot join us today. He sends us apologies and for not being able to join us. He is feeling under the weather. But the good news is that you'll be able to see and hear from 3 awesome presenters, and that's Ryan, Nick, and myself. Our first presenter is Ryan Donovan. Ryan is a senior category manager of indoor air quality for Ferguson HVAC. He has worked in the industry for 10 years and has been featured in national and industry publications, including the Wall Street Journal. Ryan can speak to the latest of air quality products and what's trending in HVAC. He knows what products manufacturers are rushing to market with and what contractors and their customers are demanding. In addition to being an avid air quality advocate, Ryan enjoys playing golf and spending time with his wife, 2 kids, and 2 dogs. Thanks for joining us, Ryan. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Kane. Appreciate it.
Our second presenter is Nick Swanson. Nick is an account manager with ThinkProfits. He has over 7 years of experience in account management and marketing. Prior to joining ThinkProfits, Nick worked both in print and digital marketing. He also created and launched a social media app that was downloaded over 75,000 times. And he's managed and grew a supplement company to a buyout and organized a hockey program that allowed minor hockey children from China come to Canada for 3 weeks to practice and play in tournaments. Thanks for joining us, Nick. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
And last but not least is me. I'm Kane Ruxtol. I'm the host and CEO of ThinkProfits. I've spent the last 5 years of my career working with some of the largest HVAC and manufacturing brands throughout North America. In my spare time, I enjoy scuba diving, riding a hyper scooter, watching Netflix with my wife, 2 birds, and 3 dogs. So let's get started. And our first topic of the day is how the contracting industry grew in 2020 and 2021. So over to you, Ryan.
Thanks, Kane. Just to jump in with some of the data and facts and figures here. Employment of heating, air conditioning, and refrigeration mechanics and installers is projected to grow 4% over the next 10 years, which is about as fast as the average of all the occupations out there. But commercial and residential building construction is really expected to drive that employment growth, and job opportunities for technicians is expected to be very good as well. With the HVAC industry anticipated to have job growth of 13% overall over the next 10 years. Highly skilled, educated HVAC techs are really going to be in high demand. From a global HVAC system standpoint, the market is expected to grow at an annual rate of 5.9% from now until 2028, which will reach roughly $197 billion by 2028. The cooling market segments really dominated the HVAC sales market with a share of roughly 54% in 2020. And this is attributed to the rising demand from the commercial sector and also changing climatic conditions worldwide. And obviously, in addition to the pandemic, some of the key factors here are driving the market for HVAC systems is increasing urbanization, the introduction of energy efficient HVAC systems, incentives and rebate programs that are out there by the governments, as well as the growing spend in the commercial sector. And then really consumers are showing demand that they want higher efficiency systems, and contractors need to be more comfortable recommending them as homeowners demand them. These systems help provide the comfort and the energy savings as well. And there's still, as many of you guys do know right now, going on, techs and labor shortage is still an issue. It's an industry-wide issue, not just in HVAC, but in the construction world as well. The trades profession really as a whole is having trouble with this labor shortage. Ferguson's really committed, Kane, to rebuilding the pipeline of skilled trade professionals in the United States by supporting industry-related initiatives and programs dedicated to the education and the reputation management side. We really want to change the narrative and illustrate that the trades are another path to success in the world that we live in today. And Ferguson offers education for contractors in our community. And we have some tips and tricks that we can handle offline for handling some of the skilled labor shortage, such as task and time management ideas that we have. Another huge trend is the adoption of environmentally friendly and energy savings technology. Consumers are really increasingly aware of their carbon footprints, and many will prioritize more sustainable solutions for heating and cooling their homes. This increased focus on sustainability is really combined with the growing adoption of Internet of Things and smart devices among U.S. consumers, and that's really expected to grow the connected HVAC section out there today. Many consumers are looking to and expect to control the temperature in their homes and the energy consumption through tools like smart thermostats and connected apps, which is something that we really see significant growth with. As it pertains to IAQ, really IAQ and smart devices, we talk about it all the time, really go hand in hand or continuing to work together even more, and are key trends for growth in 2021. If you look at what the CDC has out there about inadequate ventilation potentially contributing to the spread of COVID-19 through airborne transmission, this has really led to an increase in demand for technologies that improve indoor air quality. Consumers and business owners are starting to really educate themselves, and in many cases they're demanding clean air to return to the office and frequent their local restaurants, and a lot of them want to see the data and analytics behind that as well. But I mean, many businesses are actually advertising clean air through marketing campaigns, window decals, or even something as simple as like a typed up note on the back of a menu with a few benefits of air purification that they installed. Actually saw that at a restaurant in Charlotte, North Carolina a few months ago, and I thought it was really interesting. They literally typed it up with their own computer. But the indoor air quality industries, like I mentioned, it's grown significantly during the pandemic. It's projected to grow over $10 billion by 2025. Builders who have historically not been interested in the healthy home and are either implementing various IAQ solutions as standard offering or an upgrade package, while the other ones that weren't even considering it before are really starting to get involved with it. From a commercial standpoint, we're really starting to see more engineers and architects designing projects with air purification, point of use filtration, and other IAQ solutions more than they've ever done it before.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing all those facts and figures and trends. And it's amazing just how much COVID has changed the world and the importance of indoor air quality. For our next topic, ways contractors have had to adjust to the new normal. I'm just going to actually kick this next topic off with a poll. I'm going to publish that right now. So the poll is, what was the biggest challenge for contractors during the pandemic? And we'll see what kind of votes we get in here. Oh, it's interesting. The numbers are still coming in. So far, 50% of the audience is saying that shutdowns and layoffs have been the biggest challenge. And then it's a split tie for second. Ooh, the numbers are changing. Okay, so 40% for shutdowns and layoffs, 40% for new communication protocols, and then the balance is other. Do you have any comments, Ryan, on this one?
No, I mean that pretty much goes hand in hand with a lot of what we've seen around the industry over the last year.
Okay. So based on what you've seen in the market and from contractors, what do you think in terms of other ways that contractors have had to adjust to the new normal?
Yeah. So one of the big things, just to kick off is we were fortunate from an HVAC standpoint that we were deemed essential employees. So the skilled trade workers, they've always played a vital role in maintaining the infrastructure of homes and businesses. New communication protocols was definitely something that was a challenge for us. Keeping an open line of communication with customers that can make it easier, acknowledging customer concerns, and discussing a pandemic response plan are some of the easy steps that we saw some contractors implement that helped them through this time. One contractor told us we call the customer before we come, and we ask them about the situation in their home in terms of asking if anybody's tested positive, been exposed to someone that's tested positive. In certain cases, we've carried out our own portable air purifier to plug in, to run it in a room, to keep our employees and our consumers safe, and help with that peace of mind, which I thought was really interesting. I mean, social distancing is always vital and important as well. I think it's really important to note that just because you, the contractor, or I are comfortable interacting in ways that we may have done before the pandemic, that your customer may not feel the same way. And I think we all have different feelings about our interactions, and I think it's important to respect that not everybody may have the same feelings that you have. Another huge adjustment we've seen is touchless payment. To maintain distance while also trade professionals and their customers. There's contractor management software tools and solutions that are designed to make it easy for trade professionals to offer that touchless payment. So that's really something that we've seen as well. But absolutely, early on in the pandemic, temporary layoffs, temporary shutdowns, we know it affected a lot of people around. The Air Conditioning, Heating and Refrigeration magazine, the ACHR, measured the effect of COVID-19 on the industry, and over 50% of people selected either businesses slowing down or businesses dropped off significantly. And that kind of goes right to the poll that you put out there. And one of the big things that we've consistently seen over the last year is once we were able to open back up, once our contractors were able to open back up, it's hard to hire. It's hard right now, and everything going on, and it has been for the last 12 months to hire good employees. And that's something that we know that the HVAC industry as a whole and construction have really had to deal with. One of the other things that we've really seen come out of the last 12 months is the popularity of IAQ. It is absolutely at an all-time high. Historically, it was always sold in the off seasons. It wasn't something that was offered in the winter time when it was freezing cold, when it was furnace season, or in the summertime when it was cooling season. But we're really starting to see it be a 12-month trend, and we do believe that IAQ is absolutely here to stay. I mean, we as Ferguson, as well as the folks on this call, I mean, we know that indoor air quality is not new, and that the heightened awareness is from COVID-19. We've always participated in the IAQ side of the solutions for our HVAC contractors, but we really don't believe that IAQ is going away anytime soon. And honestly, there's a lot of people out there that are going to wonder what's next, and what's going to happen in the future. And if it's not COVID-19, is it something else? And they're really starting to understand the importance of clean, healthy indoor environments. I mean, we get an influx of inquiries every single day, and as a result, we work and take our expertise to the next level, and try to guide our customers and help them adapt to the new world that we find ourselves in. IAQ sensors and monitors is a huge topic right now. I mean, they measure what's happening to create a baseline, and they track air quality and optimize the environment, and really provide insight into the air that we're breathing every single day. I mean, whether it's point of use filtration like the CPS IAQ Pro, or that measures temperature and humidity and particulate matter and VOCs and CO2, or to some more permanent solutions like 24/7 monitoring solutions, like AirThinks. It's important to measure the baseline of what's going on in the space, provide data-driven solutions that address the problem areas, and then from there, really verifying the solutions that you installed are actually working, and then monitor it over time to really form an air quality score, and really show that. And you can do that by mounting a monitor on a wall and have it be the first thing that your kid sees when they walk into school, or the first thing you walk into an office, you see the air quality score. And in some cases, you can actually look at that through an app before you even go into work. And like I mentioned earlier, the inquiries that are really coming in on a daily basis. I mean, we're doing everything we can from a Ferguson standpoint, to really drive and ensure that we're providing the right solutions for our customers. And we've done this in a number of ways. So we built out a dedicated team of subject matter experts, that are dedicated to the IAQ space, to help our contractors, help the engineers that we work with, and some of the other businesses, to ensure that we're providing them with the support that they need out there today, in today's day and age. We've also built a resource page on our website. It's Ferguson.com/IAQ. That has some good information on there. And if anybody has any questions regarding that, by all means, they can reach out to me directly, or to Bill as well. But I mean, we've vetted hundreds of manufacturers over the last year, and really to ensure that we have the right solutions for their business. And that includes extensive research, third-party testing. Healthway Family of Brands is a phenomenal organization based out of upstate New York, who has patented DFS technology that provides medical grade filtration for both residential and commercial applications. This includes everything from portable solutions to air cleaners for split systems to commercial modular systems. One of which actually even has a fan powered option that essentially allows you to have medical grade filtration with no pressure drop and effect on the existing system, which is wow. Huge. Yeah. And we've spent a lot of time just ensuring that we have the right solutions for our customers.
Fantastic. No, thank you for sharing that. I did want to point out that for those in the audience that checked other for the poll, feel free to put what that specific other was in the chat, and we'll speak about that at the end of the webinar. For our next topic, examples of contractors who've adapted successfully. Can you give some examples, Ryan, on that one?
Yeah, for sure, Kane. So IAQ Solutions really are a value-added service that can be built into the HVAC ecosystem very easily and incorporated into everyday service calls. Really, every call you make is an IAQ opportunity, and it's an opportunity to create a cleaner, healthier indoor environment to protect our families, to protect our communities that we all live in, the restaurants that we frequent. Let's just one of the things I like to talk about when I'm having conversations with contractors is, if you think about it from a revenue standpoint, let's just use a small business, for example. Have 3 service techs. Let's say you give them the weekends off. They work 5 days a week. You give them the weekends off. Let's say they run 5 service calls a day for easy math. They get 2 weeks vacation, so you get 50 weeks a year. Let's assume that they only have a 200 batting average. So they close 1 job out of every 5. And let's use a low number. Most IAQ sales are over $1,000, but let's just use 850, for example, for a low number. If you ran the math on what that looks like, you're looking at $637,000 in revenue in the first year. So if you have 6 techs, you're looking at 1.3 million in revenue with a 200 batting average closing rate. So that's something that I like to bring up and just get some of the contractors just thinking about the opportunity that's there. And that's obviously aside from the fact that we're about cleaner, healthy environments, and that's very, very important. But we understand how businesses are run, and revenue's very, very important. And something else I wanted to just touch on is it's really important to mention the perception in our industry that HVAC contractors are not interested in offering portable plug-and-play solutions.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the large mechanical contractors that we work with around the country are actually offering wall-mounted and standalone plug-and-play solutions every single day to address high occupancy areas such as conference rooms, break rooms, elevators, and more. And when I say plug-and-play products, I'm not talking about Amazon Prime Day was a couple days ago. I'm not talking about the $100 on sale Amazon Prime Day products that go on sale through the internet. I mean, I'm talking about like the Noveris NanoStrike air purifiers that destroy viruses and bacteria down to the DNA level. I'm talking about the health waste solutions I mentioned a minute ago, and their portable versions that are 99.9% efficient down to 0.007 microns, which is roughly 40 times more efficient than HEPA.
Wow.
I'm talking about point of use, high quality visual representation of clean air, and it's in huge demand as businesses are looking to reopen and stay open as well. Another huge thing to bring up on this note, Kane, is IAQ knowledge is a great way to increase your customer base. I was talking to a contractor a few weeks ago, and he mentioned that before March of 2020, IAQ, he was only selling when he was asked for it, or in quote unquote best high-end system, he was offering some filtration and some air purification, but only very small portion of his business. Since March of 2020, he's implemented full IAQ Solutions packages into every single conversation. He's seen a 25% increase in revenue. He's increased his closing rates. And he's also mentioned at this point in time, more than 50% of his business is IAQ Solutions packages rather than system changeouts. And he mentioned he has very little competition because most contractors are not out there talking about and educating on IAQ Solutions. But that kind of goes to the next point of, we would love to work with some HVAC contractors on some more proactive campaigns. We are seeing, as I mentioned, very reactive contractors out there only offering it when they're asked for it. The ones who are offering and educating end users are really seeing significant growth in profitability. And we're really dedicated to providing everyone on this call and other contractors as well the education and helping you guys do whatever you need to do to help this side of your business. So by all means, reach out to myself or Bill, and we're we're happy to help. And just kind of to wrap up, Kane, is like I mentioned, every call is an IAQ opportunity, and it's not because it's selling another product to make some money, but it's really creating a clean, healthy indoor environment for your customer.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Our next topic, how contractors are marketing their business to get leads. Totally self-serving, one of my favorite topics, of course, all about lead generation and marketing. Nick, would you like to kick this topic off?
I would love to. So the name of the game when it comes to marketing is growth. You always want to have more people coming in, but qualified is definitely the thing that everybody is looking for. You could have 1 million website visitors come to your site, but if nobody's purchasing, calling, or reaching out to you, it really is a waste of effort and attention. So narrowing that focus to really identify who your target market is and how they're searching and thinking is crucial to get that level of success. One of the main metrics I look for when I do review a website is the difference between branded and unbranded traffic. Now, branded traffic has anything to do with the company name, products, any of those very specific services. The way that I could relate it to something would be if somebody's searching up Apple iPhone, that would be branded. If I'm looking for a cell phone, that could be an unbranded key search. So when it comes to HVAC and contractors especially, this is crucially important. Because if somebody's searching you by your name or directly typing in your website address, very likely those leads are coming from referrals or word of mouth, which while that's fantastic, that means you're doing the job the right way and people want to talk to you and recommend you. That means that anybody outside of that circle is unaware of you and unable to find you. So it's very important to be found for not just your name, but the services that you're providing as well. There are always the highlights that people are going after, best HVAC company, 5-star HVAC company, local HVAC company near me. Very important, very typically the higher search result categories, but because they're higher search results, very likely it's going to be a higher level of competition. So you're either going to have to devote more time and resources and likely content creation on your site to really capture those keywords, or you could do that while also searching after the low-hanging fruit. The low-hanging fruit is important for any single company to go after. Just because something is searched 50 times a month doesn't mean that there aren't leads that could be generated from those searches. It's much better to get 50% of something opposed to 100% of nothing. Now, when it comes into what you guys are trying to create for your website, knowing your services and what people are searching for and trends of the industry, super important. Ryan brought up a fantastic point about how when you have those monitors inside of your house or business to qualify air quality, to show your air quality throughout the facility. A website audit can be the exact same way. There's a lot of times somebody will come to a site, but there's no common workflow to get through from point A to point B. And we all know when it comes to the internet, a lot of people are very lazy. If they can't find what they're looking for in about 2.5 to 3 minutes, they're gone and looking for the next option. And with first impressions being the most valuable thing online, if you're not that source of information the first time, it very well could lead into a mistrust down the road, and you can get instantly discounted from that next click next time. So anytime somebody comes to the site, you have to make sure that they're finding what they're looking for through the usage of landing pages. Now, landing pages are very, very complex in subject, but in theory, they're very simple. All a landing page is going to be is a page dedicated to the reason someone's coming to your site with the express written idea of having a contact created. Now, that can be done through a call to action, a big button on the website that says, click here to book an appointment, click here to call, click here to get an estimate, a form fill on the website, you giving over some information so somebody can reach back to you. You want to have both types of options on there because depending on who's coming to the website, they may be a decision maker. That's someone you're going to want to talk to today. They might not be a decision maker. They might be gathering information. So that contact form is what they're going to look for because they're going to put their questions, their comments, their concerns in there so that somebody from your team can reach back to them and address those points. So those are going to be really crucial keys for success because if you make the enjoyable experience for someone when they come to the site, they're going to want to interact with you. But if you make it a headache and difficult and really confusing, there's no incentive for them to want to reach out to you because you're creating that impression that every other step after that could follow with the exact same example. So you're going to want to make sure whenever somebody comes to the site, they're finding what they're looking for, and they're really going through that site with a proper motion. Now, when somebody gets to the site, I'm just going to go a little bit further here. There's going to be a couple options for someone to end up doing. Now, when you track that opportunity, and you're going to be done through a call tracking system, through website tracking, even Google Analytics, you're going to want to figure out where people are ending up. Now, with that flow that I was talking about before, every business is going to be different. So unfortunately, I can't give a generic example. But if you could put yourself in the shoes of the people that are going to visit your site, that's the best way to figure out what they're looking for and how to get to it. Everybody has that bias towards their website. My website's great. I understand it. I'm able to find it. But that's because we live, eat, sleep, and breathe this stuff left, right, and center. You really have to go into it with kind of that Pepsi challenge mentality. You take the labels off, you put it in 2 random cups, and you have somebody sip and which one they like better. If you're able to take every branding aspect off of your website and compare it next to 3 of your competitors, for example, and you're able to say, yes, you know what, our flow is easier. It's much easier for someone to contact us or find what they're looking for. Amazing. But you can't have the best company in the world if nobody's able to reach out to you or doesn't want to reach out to you. So really simplifying that message is the greatest way of creating that conversion, because unless you're running e-commerce on your website, you're not going to close the sale online. You're going to have to close it through a direct contact between a staff member or a team member on your side and somebody from their side. So if somebody's on the site for 90 seconds, not a problem, as long as it's resulting in a connection. That is the ultimate goal. When it comes to marketing, there's a couple different avenues you can go under. The methodology that we follow is called the Parthenon. Very similar to the Parthenon that's in Greece, that's been standing for thousands of years. The reason for it, multiple pillars, strong foundation, and a proper roof. Marketing, exact same way. That strong foundation is through keyword research, auditing of the strategy, knowing your clientele, and a proper website and marketing design. Then each one of those pillars is all the different marketing efforts. You could have SEO, you could have content development. Content development can be blogs on the website, new information going out onto your LinkedIn accounts, new pages for industry trends, because things are constantly evolving. We learned that better than any other time last year. Ads going out, direct ads through Google, LinkedIn ads, Bing ads. Find out where your market is being and really hit them home there. Social media. Social media for a lot of contracting companies is an afterthought. But the reason it's so important, and one of the big highlights I saw last year, staffing shortages. A lot of quality companies were having difficulty finding quality employees. But if you could showcase that your business is a place that people will want to work, you will attract the right people. So having that image out there works for both potential employees, but also businesses or companies that look you up to see if you're working on similar types of projects. Because if they see that you've put in, an HVAC system into a hockey rink, for example, and if I'm the purchasing decider for a hockey rink, I can say, hey, you know what? They've done this before. Those are the people that I should reach out to. And a picture says 1,000 words, and that is a great way, low-cost way of attracting attention. Email automation is critical for informing your current customers or clients about what's going on. With a lot of products, very similar to an oil change for a car, when something is going to need to be serviced, replaced, or repaired. So if you're able to track when somebody is purchasing a product, you could store that information in your back end and know, hey, in 6 months, I got to send, XYZ company an email saying, 30-day warranty is coming up, or, have you serviced this part yet? So having that connection, so you're not leaving it up to them to reach out to you, but you're taking the initiative, is a lot more effective. It's like going to that dance and expecting someone to pick you off the wall. It's not always going to happen. Sometimes you have to go and ask somebody to the dance floor. And that's what email automation is all about. 5-star reviews. I really don't think I need to get too deep into this one. Super important. We've all gone online and looked at a restaurant and said, hey, they only got 3 stars. This one has 4.5. Let's go with the 4.5. You know nothing about either one of these restaurants except for the fact that some random strangers were assigning a star value to it. Picking a company to come into your home or your business is the exact same way. If you have a lot of those positive reviews or people are saying good things about you, someone's going to be more inclined to reach out. But if there's a lot of, 1-star, 2-star, or even no reviews at all, you're really seen as that question mark. And a lot of people don't want to take that chance because there are alternatives out there. So that's a really important one for people to go after as well. So if you're ever in a home or a business and you feel like you have that good connection, never be afraid to ask for a review. The worst thing that's going to happen is they're going to say no. I haven't had anybody that when you ask them, they say, oh, I'm going to leave you a 1-star for asking. It's not going to work that way unless you put that impression in their head that you are a 1-star company, but that's a different conversation for a different day. And then the last pillar is going to be direct sales. The same way I was mentioning, you're not going to close a sale on a website unless you're e-commerce. You need to have somebody that when you get that lead is able to answer the phone. I've had it in the past where I've had clients that say, Nick, we want 100 phone calls a day. And I say, perfect. Can you handle 100 phone calls a day? And they say, oh, we got one person working in the office, they'll handle what they can handle. Well, that's not always the greatest philosophy, because if somebody calls you in an emergency and you don't answer, they're going to go on to the next company. And then that's the company they're going to call next time. So you want to make sure for every marketing plan, you're prepared for the growth as well, because you don't want to have that law of diminishing returns where you're having more calls get unanswered than answered. So scheduled growth is very important for things like that as well. And then the roof that you would put on this structure is website design and user experience. You can get as many people to your website as possible, but if the content is bad, the written words don't make sense, or it's confusing, or, you're talking down to somebody, there's really no incentive for them to reach out. So the marketing is what's going to bring them in. The website and user experience is what's going to make them then reach out. So you got to put that all together to get that success. So you have your SEO, your content development, your ads, whether it's be reactive or proactive, retargeting. So if somebody goes to a competitor site, you can hit them with one of your ads. Very popular in the contracting industry. I think more people should be taking advantage of that, because if they're looking up a competitor of yours, that's a very qualified lead. Social media, so that you can inform current, past, and potential customers about what's going on in your industry, as well as excite people to want to work for you. Email automation, touching back on people that are aware of you, 5-star reviews, and direct sales. Those are the big 7 approaches when it comes to a Parthenon marketing strategy. Now, what to do with all this information? I know I just threw a bunch of words at you right there. Tracking your ROI. Anytime somebody starts something new, it's important to figure out what's working. It's no different than if you were going to start a workout plan. You would want to make sure that you're having the right amount of food intake, you're doing the right exercise, you're stretching properly, so that you could really track where you're getting your results from, so that you could focus in on that stuff. So call tracking, where are your calls coming in from? Are they being answered? Is it the agent that's talking more, or is it the client that's talking more? All of those kinds of things are going to help you determine what efforts are working. And for each dollar that you spend, how much are you bringing back? Because if you're not making more than you're spending, there's a leak in your marketing that you really have to adjust. So just going over some final bullet points here with you here. Narrowing the focus. Super important. You can't be everything to everybody. No different than when you make a pancake. If you make it too thin, it's not going to cook properly. You really do need to have a little bit of thickness on that marketing strategy, because seeing an ad one time is not always going to convert people. Think about how many ads you see in a day and how many are effective to you, or how many times you have to see them. A website audit, we're always talking all the time about what our clients need to do, but focusing on ourselves and our self-care is important as well. When your website isn't working, it doesn't matter what any marketing effort is going to do, it has to be converting. So making sure that stuff is working as well. The beach body approach, you don't start preparing for that beach body in summer, you start working out in the winter. Marketing, you begin before you need it, because if you begin when you need it, it's not going to take effect fast enough, and you're going to be spinning your tires a lot. Focusing on your main draws. Figuring out what people look for you for and using that to your advantage. Because once you get them on the phone, you could ask them what they need, figuring out qualification questions, and really start to deep dive into the other services that you provide. So just because somebody's calling you for one reason doesn't mean you can't bring up other subjects. And first impressions are the most important. If they're not going to call you, they're going to make up their judgment within about 3 minutes of being on your site. So no different than speed dating. You want to put your best foot forward and really lead with what makes you special, because everybody believes they're special, but everybody really does have that one thing that sets them apart from everybody else. And the same is true for business. So that really is the spiel here. I know there was a ton to go over. I have no problem chatting over this more with anybody if they do have any questions. And we'd even get into some more specifics about what that means for your business or website. So I really do appreciate the time you gave for me here, Kane, and look forward to chatting with some more people after this.
You're welcome. Well, Nick, you mentioned website audit a few times, and I threw up a poll for the audience. So 66% have said that they've never had an SEO audit, and 33% have said they've had one in the last 1 to 3 months. So that's not surprising.
A website audit is something I do recommend to somebody every year and a half, or if you're thinking about changing directions on what you're trying to approach or attract. Because you can keep doing these things for 3 to 6 months, because that's how long SEO does take to start to gain some traction, is 3 to 6 months. And if you're doing the wrong things for 6 months, and then you decide, hey, you know what, we got to fix it, that's another 6 months on top. So instead of being half a year behind, you can now be a full year behind where you want it to be. So it's really important to have those constant check-ins, because if you don't know which way you're going, 1% off course turns into 2, turns into 4, turns into 8 very quickly. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure you're on those right paths all the way through.
Fantastic. Thank you. Well, I'm going to share another poll, and this one, Ryan, we definitely would appreciate your feedback on how, for Ferguson and what you're seeing out there, and how contractors are generating leads. So floor is yours.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So a lot of what Nick said really resonates the same. The biggest next add on this would be really the message, and how the message is really important when it comes to HVAC and indoor air quality, when you're looking at the lead side, and really ensuring that when you're marketing your organization, that you're discussing something that is going to resonate with the end user. And when it comes to IAQ, it's really about the occupants in the home or the business, the community in which we live, and our families is really the biggest thing that we're seeing contractor success from a lead standpoint when they're doing marketing and advertising.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Thank you. And just covering how contractors are generating leads for their business is kind of a nice segue into our final topic, and that is the future outlook of contracting and IAQ.
Cool. Thanks, Kane. So contractors that are really successfully transitioning are really the ones that understand how the current events have quickly shaped how the homeowner perceives something, or facilities managers' priorities. Consumers are concerned with everything that's going on. They're researching themselves with the CDC and ASHRAE and what they're saying regarding indoor air quality. And they've really never had to think about any of this before 14 months ago. And really, in fact, it goes beyond their homes. And now they're really thinking about the air quality in their children's schools, the buildings where they work, the restaurants they frequent. And anytime they step indoors, they're thinking about it. And we've really already seen some people that are making upgrades to, whether it's existing HVAC systems from a filtration standpoint, or adding portable and standalone filtration systems, like a lot of school systems around the country have been doing. And as I mentioned earlier, the majority of portable and standalone solutions are really not being offered or sold through HVAC contractors mostly. However, the ones that are really having success with it. And in the future, I expect to see municipalities utilizing apps that integrate into their school's HVAC system for parents to monitor their kids' schools' indoor air quality. And some of this technology exists today. But we expect that this is going to become more mainstream here in the future. And much like we wake up in the morning and we check the weather, or we ask Google what the weather is today, I mean, office employees are going to be able to check text alerts or view reports or view an app that really shows the building wellness and help them decide whether working from home that day is a good option. And really, I might have mentioned this earlier, but we were on a panel discussion. We were on a panel discussion a few months ago, and for commercial real estate. And on that call, it really got dominated by the fact that tenants are going to demand clean air, and they're going to want to see the proof in the data and analytics. And that really resonated with me, and it really resonated with a lot of other people that were on that call, because we are seeing that come into fruition here as we move forward through this pandemic. But really, every passing second, we get one step closer to a real context-aware HVAC system. I mean, manufacturers are constantly pushing the boundaries and discussing about what the future looks like from a IAQ and a connected standpoint, and really developments in the sensing technology and the AI side of it is really going to result in systems that automatically respond and adapt to our home and our business in the air quality environment changes. And some of this also exists today, but we do feel that this is going to become more mainstream here in the future. And really the progress that create this whole building solution that will really respond to the building's data, the routines, the consumption, the current air quality in the space, like displaying an IAQ score. I mean, we're at a point where we're close to automatically adjusting filtration and humidification in a space to maintain efficiency and good air quality without having to do anything. And it'll be able to predict abnormalities in the conditions and have an IAQ system get a reading from a VOC or CO2 standpoint and either alert an HVAC contractor or immediately open a fresh air ventilator or an ERV that is in that space. And honestly, just to kind of wrap up, likely there's going to be a day when we can actually look at a device and know how many flu virus particles are in the air when we're walking into a building. Because every particle, even viruses and bacteria, they all have a size and a range. And really, to simplify it, I mean, current technology is really focusing on measuring each particulate and then looking at ways to address those concerns that the sensors find. And with such a focus on indoor air quality, AI, and technology, nothing leads me to believe that we're far off.
Fantastic. No, thank you for sharing all of that. In the time we have remaining, we'll open it up to some questions. We're already seeing some questions come in and some comments. Brian, would you like to take the first one from Louise? More of a comment.
Yeah, I don't really know how to answer that question. It doesn't seem like a question, more of a comment.
Just a comment specifically about Ring.
That is, I'll jump in on this one.
Mm-hmm.
So the question was, if you're high in the neighborhood ranking, and the reference was to the Ring app or the Ring function, would you be able to rank higher and have people contact you first? 100%. Anytime that you can be found towards the top of a search engine or the top of a ranking, you are definitely going to have that opportunity to get called first. The other situation that could be brought in from something like this is backlinks. So the more places that your website information is found on reputable sources, whether it's Google Maps, Ring, if there's House or any of the other contracting websites or social media apps, that is going to provide you with an SEO boost that will show you higher on certain rankings, because Google will see you as an authority on the subject. So and the long and short of it is, yes, that certainly can help you, but it has to be done properly. And it's not something that can just be done once and it's going to have this lifelong lasting effect, because Google's constantly looking for the new and updated versions of things. And that's why they're constantly sending out these things called spiders to crawl the web. I know I hate it too, but that's what they call them. And whenever they find out a website has been updated or there's new information added, it gives them a little checkbox to say, yes, this website is still updating things. And if a website is being updated, they want that towards the top because it's a business like anybody else. They want the newest, freshest, most relevant information towards the number one page. So yes, that certainly can help, but it is not the be-all, end-all solution. I hope I answered that question properly for you.
Got another question that came in. This one's definitely related for you, Ryan, and that is, what kind of products are contractors selling for IAQ?
So 2020 and in 2021, UV lights were in huge demand last year, which caused significant lead times due to all the demand. But UV lights were some of the most popular solutions over the last 14 months. MERV 13 filters, outside of California, the majority of retrofit projects did not include MERV 13 filters, but that's been in huge demand as everyone continues to upgrade based on the recommendations from the CDC and ASHRAE, and then portable air purifiers for businesses, and there were some with homeowners, but mostly businesses and educational facilities was really a huge growth market that we saw from a product standpoint to be the most popular. We really are starting to see a shift from everything last year over the last year. The majority of it was very reactionary. The calls came in, contractors sold products, whether it was UV lights, MERV 13, upgraded air purifiers, stuff like that. And we're really starting to see a shift to some more well thought out solutions and designs to improve the indoor air quality for a long term. Again, it was very reactive before, but we're really starting to see people be proactive and starting to think about 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now. And then really the IAQ monitoring and measuring that baseline and identifying some high occupancy areas and ensuring that the high quality point of use solutions, whether it's portable or professionally installed solutions as well, like above the ceiling HEPA filtration units. But yeah, HEPA and medical grade solutions are really starting to come out in some of these designs as well. And then really installed in the HVAC ductwork, implemented into homes, restaurants, office buildings. And we're really starting to see that shift away from some of the things that were reactionary last year.
Okay. Thank you for sharing. Next question is definitely for you, Nick, kind of tying into your response on the Ring app. Question is, do you have any recommendations on tactics to get leads in my city?
Besides hiring ThinkProfits? So one of the really important things, figuring out what your competition is doing. Because there's always going to be some sort of opportunity. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So identifying what services are most important for you to be found for, but also taking profitability into account as well. Because you don't want to be undercutting somebody and taking all those leads, but it's actually costing you more money than it is creating it. So identifying what competition is doing, figuring out what your marketing budget is. It's not always a dollar for dollar spend. It very well could be quality over quantity. I've run into a lot of situations where I'm helping a business take competition from a rival, just to put it simply. And it's not always about spending more than the competitor is spending. Going back to that low-hanging fruit analogy that I was using earlier, they might be focused on nothing but emergency plumber services or emergency HVAC contractor or anything like that. But if there's something that's searched 50, 75, or 100 times a month that isn't being targeted or isn't being sought after by anybody else, you could rise up those rankings really quickly. And then the revenue you can generate from that source there can then be reinvested back in to go after the more competitive ones. Because Rome was not built in a day, and marketing success was neither. So it's all about having one day be better than the previous day. And if every day just gets a little bit better and a little bit better, that's what's going to help. Because if Google sees that those rankings are going up and that traffic is going up and you're not having those exit or those bounce rates anymore, they're going to want to move you up higher as long as you're constantly adding new things to the website as well. So it's not a dollar for dollar competition. It's just about figuring out where the best dollar can be spent.
Thanks, Nick. Got another question that came in, and just in the essence of time, probably only have time to answer one more. I get a lot of phone calls. Any ideas on how to track these?
There is many different programs to track them, and it really is just figuring out what's best for the purposes that you're using. The platform that we use is called CallRail. We use it for about 99% of the clients that we work with, because it's able to track lead source. So you can figure out, if you're using ads, what ad is creating those phone calls. It also records your phone calls. You can qualify it with a thumbs up or thumbs down. So if you're getting a bunch of calls that are just absolute garbage, you don't want to get calls from that anymore, you could just keep giving that thumbs down as a quick button. And then at the end of the month, when you're evaluating where your qualified and unqualified leads came from, it'll help you decide what keywords or what search terms or ads are actually really effective. The other flip side to that is they also offer contact form tracking. So if somebody's filling out one of those contact forms on your website, it can do the exact same thing. So it'll really give you a solid indication of what's bringing people in and what's making them reach out to you, so that you can better identify what pages you should have people see first, or what pages you really need to change on the website if nobody's giving you any responses from it.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for all of those that have attended today, and apologize for any kind of technical issues we've had on some of our streaming channels. We're using a new webinar platform, and there's a couple of hiccups we've had at the beginning, but this recording will be sent out to everyone that has registered. And if you're interested to have the slides, we're happy to send you a copy of those if you haven't already grabbed your copy on the offers section. And in terms of any kind of final announcements, for those that have registered, we're offering a free website audit and competitive analysis to those that are interested. Usually we charge $2,500 for that. So great deal, especially for if it's free. And Nick, you may have some other comments about that offer, if you wouldn't mind.
I'll let people know, what they can expect to get out of something like that. So it will end up with about a 30-minute meeting that we can go over. We're going to evaluate those branded and non-branded keywords that people are finding you for, so we could show you that ratio. We could show you what keywords you are showing up for. So we'll give you a list of, the top 10. We'll show the search volumes as well, and the percentage of your traffic that's coming from it. If you let us know 3 competitors in your area that you just kind of want to wipe off the map, we can give you some tips and tricks on how to get that done. And then we can go over a quick review of your website and some of the conversion points. So we're going to be able to give you the stepping stones of getting that marketing program put together, so that you can evaluate if it's the right decision for you and if it's the right time to move forward with something, whether it's with us or somebody else. Fantastic. Thank you. And Ryan, any final comments on your side?
No, I really appreciate you having me on. I hope everybody found some topics that were valuable to them, and I appreciate everybody's spending an hour with us today.
Fantastic. And thanks again, everyone, for joining us. And we really appreciate your time and look forward to seeing you at our next event. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Nick.
Great. Bye-bye.